Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another installment in our character spotlight series for Marvel Contest of Champions. Today we have a character that has been very much reworked, and quite recently as well, so it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about the ins and outs of this character and how they behave. And as a special bonus, today at the end of the character breakdown, we have a crystal opening where we're going to be opening over 90 crystals, including 11 5-star crystals and 5 6-star crystals, so make sure that you stick around for that. And let's talk a little bit more about War Machine, because he doesn't work the same way that he used to, and that's kind of important to using this character efficiently. So starting off where we always do with the base set of abilities that are available with the first pull of the character, we have an ability that's always active where War Machine has an indefinite armor buff. Now, the problem with having an indefinite armor buff active as opposed to an infinite armor buff passive is the passive armor buffs can't be nullified by anything, whereas if you get an armor break or an armor shatter or a nullify effect that applies over to War Machine, well, he's going to lose that armor for the remainder of the fight. So that is a little bit of a downside to the character in general. But you don't have to worry about that in most matchups, so it's pretty good, all things considered. So it's still a pretty good thing to have. Next, we have the persistent charge mechanic, which was added to War Machine's kit, and this works very interestingly as well. So War Machine begins every single quest with 2 persistent charges, and the charges can be spent in the pre-fight screen, and you can activate any one of those buffs, or all of them if you have the persistent charges to do so. However, these effects do not stack between fights and need to be activated individually based off of the fights that they're used in. If you win a fight with War Machine, he gains a charge plus an additional charge for every other hero champion in your party. So if your team is full of hero champions, even if you exhaust your charges before going into the fight, you will have all 5 charges available to you going into the start of the next one. These persistent charges activate a couple of unique perks to War Machine. The support charge will grant War Machine 2 cleanse charges, and when he were to be inflicted with a debuff, he will immediately purify it and consume one of those cleanse charges. But he does have a team build synergy that will allow him up to an additional 2 cleanse charges, so you don't have to go worrying in that regard. The fortify charge will cause War Machine to gain an energy resistance equal to his armor rating, so the longer you can hold on to that armor buff, or if you have additional armor buffs activate, you will have increased energy resistance, which is particularly helpful against characters such as Magic. And the skirmish charge will allow War Machine to gain additional attack rating based off of current armor, and all debuffs excluding stun debuffs gain an extra 20% duration. And something that's not linked to any of his pre-fight abilities is he does gain an extra 10% attack rating when he has an armory boost active. And something that pertains to having any of these boosts active is as long as you activate one, you will gain an extra 10% attack rating while attacking into your opponents. When and if War Machine lands a heavy attack, he will refresh all of the debuffs on his opponent except for stuns, and that does have a 20-second cooldown, so if you land a heavy attack to refresh those, you will need to wait another 20 seconds in order to reapply them. And on his special attacks, he has an advanced auto-targeting mechanic, which prevents his opponents from using evade, which means that his special attacks are now a lot more useful against the likes of Stark Spidey and other web warriors. The Special 1 attack has a couple of unique effects, and this was changed because previously it only dealt bleed damage, whereas now it has a suppressant fire, which means that all 5 hits will cause the opponent to gain a suppression debuff, which reduces the combat power rating by 10% for 10 seconds. And this still applies even if the opponent is blocking the attack as it comes in. You can only have 5 of those active at a time, but that cuts the opponent's gained power in half, and so you can get a lot more utility out of that. That makes War Machine another pretty good counter against Magic, because you can slow down the rate at which she gains power as you attack into her. Each of those shots also has a 60% chance to inflict a Rupture debuff, which is a relatively new debuff type, and it doesn't have really any immunities unless your character is just inherently immune to debuffs in general. and that will deal a certain amount of physical damage over 5.5 seconds, and the chance to rupture increases by 60% for each armor break debuff on the opponent. So if you have the opponent's armor broken, then they will have a guarantee to have that rupture activate on them. And the suppression debuff application on your opponent will remove 1 prowess charge from them, should they have one. War Machine's Special 2 attack has a 100% chance to inflict an armor break debuff, which removes an armor up buff on the opponent if they have one active, and it has a 30-second duration and can be stacked up to 2 times. So if you really want to layer in a lot of damage to the opponent, charge your special meter up almost to the special 3, and then land your special 2, build back up to a special 2, land a second one, and then execute a heavy attack. That way you will have 2 armor break debuffs that have a 30-second duration, and that will allow you to deal a lot more damage. You can then layer in with a bunch of your special 1s, because you would then have guaranteed ruptures on your opponents when attacking into them, as well as being able to suppress their combat rating with the other applications of that special 1. And finally, the special attack 3 gives War Machine a 100% chance to stun the opponent for 3.5 seconds, and War Machine will gain a Fury passive at the end of that attack, which raises his attack for 30 seconds. Each armor break on the opponent will grant War Machine an additional Fury passive. So with that same strategy that I mentioned earlier, you could continue to refresh those armor breaks since they do have a 30-second duration, and your debuff refresh on your heavy attack can be activated once every 20 seconds. And then if you build up to your special 3, you can get up to 3 of those Fury passives active on yourself to greatly increase your overall attack damage that you're capable of dealing. Now, we've talked about a lot of really good stuff here with War Machine, but we haven't touched on his signature ability just yet, and this is an ability that works similar to a couple of the other Iron Man type characters that we've seen, but it does have a couple of unique twists to it. When War Machine is brought below 15% health, he activates his Empty the Clip phase, which will grant him 12 Fury passives, which increases his attack rating, and he will gain 12 regeneration passives, which helps him regenerate a portion of his health over 15 seconds. Now, the Fury passives are consumed when War Machine lands an attack on his opponent, whereas the regeneration passives will either expire at the end of the 15 seconds, or he will lose one of these regeneration charges every single time he receives an attack from his opponent. So that's something you've got to keep an eye out for as well. I'm personally really happy with this overhaul to War Machine's kit because it makes him a lot more viable than he was before, and it was a very necessary rework. Now, all of his special animations remained the same, but I don't think that that was in need of being changed by any degree. So now that we've talked about everything that we needed to with War Machine, I think that that's a good place for us to transition over to the crystal opening. But if you have any thoughts on War Machine, be sure to let me know what they are in the comments down below. And let's go see what we got out of those crystals. All right, well, thanks for hanging out and watching the breakdown for War Machine. I hope that you enjoyed that. And we're going to end today's video by looking at a lot of these crystals that I have to open. So we're going to rapidly go through the premium hero crystals that I have to form out of these shards. We will then move on to these Grandmaster crystals, and again, I'll pop those ones open pretty quickly. And then we have 5 6-star crystals and 11 5-star hero crystals. And I've been trying to hold on to the 5-star ones to open them under specific archetypes. I'm really looking for Wasp in particular for a ghost synergy, but that hasn't panned out, so we're just going to open the standard crystals themselves, especially since we have one that's already in that category anyway. So let me go ahead and get these premium hero crystals put together, and we'll go ahead and rapid open them once we've got them all in front of me. Alright, so we have 32 of the premium hero crystals that we have formed from shards. It'd be nice to get at least one 4-star out of this. The first batch of 10, no dice. It looks like we had one 3-star in there, which isn't the end of the world, but you always like to see at least a couple more than that. Let's see if we can end up getting anything useful in terms of like a 4-star out of these. Oh, and there is a 4-star. There's a cable right there. And, oh, there's actually 2. Proxima Midnight. Not bad for 20 different crystals. And then we've got 12 more to go through, so we'll just let these kind of scroll open and move right along into the next couple of crystals here. All those offer pop-ups, they're never fun to go through, are they? And a couple 3 stars, so nothing super crazy in this batch. And then I highly doubt that we're going to get anything noteworthy out of the last 2 crystals, but I'd love to be surprised, so let's see if that is the case. Another offer popping up here, and no, we do not want to see that. Let's see here, just 2 more 2 stars. That's about what I expected from it, so let's get a conversion. And let's go back to our crystals here so we can set up the next round. That was the Grandmaster crystals. So I'll load these up and again bring you back in. We should have a fair number of these. I think it should be about 50. And yes, there are 51 of these crystals here. So let's go ahead and open a couple of them. I'm not going to spin these ones out because there is a chance to get a 5-star, but it's not worth waiting for the animation on all of them. Right off the bat, we're doing pretty well. We've got 2 4-star champions in the form of Mysterio and our She-Hulk there. So let's go ahead and get those guys moving along. And now we'll get the next 10 opened up here, see what comes out of this. I'd love to get at least 1 5-star out of these because it is a possibility. No 5-star, but we did get a new 3-star and a new 4-star there. I do have a 5-star Sorcerer Supreme, but I haven't done a whole lot with her. So maybe I'll have to do something more with that. And much, much later down the road, if we continue doing this series, we will get around to opening or talking a little bit more about Sorcerer Supreme, but that's a ways off since she is a fairly new champion. Let's get the next 10 open here. And again, nothing super crazy. It looks like we did get a couple of new characters. It was a Heimdall and the Red Goblin there out of this batch. We'll just speed through the rest of these and close out whatever obligatory offer comes through because you know, oh, there wasn't one that time. Now for the next 10, come on, give me a 5-star somewhere in here. We did get, I think it was 3 more new champions here. Yep, a 5-star Daredevil Hell's Kitchen version. And then we have a 3-star Silver Centurion and Silver Surfer. So that's really cool as well. And I did get the 5-star that I was hoping for. It'd be a little greedy for me to ask for 2, but if I do get another one, I will not complain. So let's move along here, open up the next one. It's thinking about it. Looks like we got 1 additional new champion here. We've got a 4-star Ebony Maw that's come through and a 3-star Abomination Immortal there. He's a very interesting character, works in a variety of kind of fun ways there. Let's pop open this last crystal. I would normally spin it out, but we've got a lot of crystals we still need to get to. So we're going to just pop it open and see what comes out. More of these offers we need to cancel out of there. And yeah, I figured it was just going to be a 3-star, whether it was new or a duplicate. Nothing super crazy there. But let's back out of these and head in. Well, I guess we've got a 4-star crystal, or 3-star and a 4-star crystal to open from all of these crystals we've just popped open recently. So let's get those 2 real quick. We've got a MODOK, nothing super crazy there, and we'll move away from that onto our 4-star crystal that we've got. Pop this guy open, and hey, 4-star Tigra. I do have a 5-star Tigra that I've got at rank 4 or 5. I honestly don't remember which, but she's an interesting character and has some unique practicality to her. So let's open up our 5-star crystals. We've got the one that's already fully formed, and then we have 10 additional ones. So these ones we are going to spin out a little bit. I'd love to see Wasp out of this, but I will never complain at new characters. If we get a Nick Fury, that would also be amazing, because I have a Skill Awakening Gem as well as a bunch of skill signature stones that I can put into him directly. Dr. Doom, that's great. We already have him, and that actually brings him to his max signature level. So not going to complain about that at all. Let's get the next crystal into the spinner here and see who pops out of it. Not seeing a wasp running around down there in the spinner. Then again, that's just an aesthetic. As soon as you pop something into the wheel, you already have it locked in as to what it's going to be. 5-star Old Man Logan Awakening. That's not bad either, as he's pretty strong and has some interesting utility to him for sure, especially since his special attacks are unblockable. So that's always a good thing to see. I wouldn't complain about that 5-star Archangel. It looks like we're getting a Dragon Man, and I know I don't have him in a 5-star variant. So new characters, that's always good to see as well. He's also a particularly annoying defender, so if I ever get back into doing Alliance Wars, you could put him into that slate pretty quickly and have him wreak a fair amount of havoc on your opponents. Moving along, it looks like we are getting an awakening on our Corvus Glaive. I just took him up to max rank on his in this variant, so having him awakened is going to really help him in terms of his survivability in the fights that I choose to use him in. And we are into our 4th crystal now. So let's see what comes out of here. Nothing particularly interesting coming around that wheel. Looks like we're getting an awakening on our Dormammu. We've actually had him awakened for a while, so that's just going to power up his signature ability. Takes him to Sig 60, which doesn't break the bank, but again, always something kind of nice to have. Pop open this next crystal here, and I see Nick Fury going around that circle again. I would not complain about having him. Looks like we're going to get a Cyclops, and that may be an initial awakening on him. I'm pretty sure that that is the case. Yep. Expertise. I personally think the old school Cyclops has the better signature ability out of the two of them. And I think we've talked about both of those characters at this point in time, though I may be wrong. And if I am, you can let me know in the comments below. And our next one is going to be Terex. Oh, we do have him, and now we've got him awakened, which makes him a little bit more annoying to face off against. So, again, nothing super terrible there if I ever get him up to a decent level where I could place him on the defensive side of an Alliance War. Nick Fury, again, going around that rotation. I'm not seeing Wasp coming around there, which is unfortunate. Heimdall Awakening. I know I don't have him awakened. And that's a really handy thing to have because his awakened ability makes him a little bit more annoying on the defensive side of things if you do happen to lose to him. But it also allows you to get a bit more utility out of him on the offensive side of things should you choose to use him as an attacker or in a general quest. Next up, out of the spinner, we have, looks like it's going to be Storm. I'm not going to complain about that. Her signature ability is fairly basic, but it also has a decent amount of strength to it, and I did not have that awakened on my 5-star Storm at all. Second to last crystal here, crystal number 10. Let's see who comes out of here, and it is going to be... not Archangel, but Silver Centurion. That's a new 5-star for us. Not going to complain about that, as he is a little bit of a tricky character to work around. And for this final 5-star crystal, I am just going to let it spin out. That tends to be a bit more of the tradition with these types of crystal openings, but we'll see who actually comes out of there. I don't have a 5-star Rogue. She's not incredibly powerful, but having a revive mechanic or a heal mechanic off of her special 1 is always kind of a fun thing to see and helps her with her longevity in fights as well. I've got Quake awakened. I wouldn't complain necessarily about a Mojo awakening, and I don't think that I have Colossus, who I see going around the spinner down there at the bottom as well. So if he comes through, that certainly would not be the worst thing in the world either. And there is the automatic click. Let's see who it finally spins over to. And it's Spider-Ham. Again, another new character that we don't have. I haven't had a chance to mess around with this character really at all. So it'll be cool to kind of have a new character to play around with. So 3 new characters and 8 conversions, actually, my mistake. So, all things considered, pretty good on the 5-star characters that we have coming through here. And now on to the 6-star characters. I am going to see if I have any of these gems that I can get some 6-star shards out of. I feel like I do. Looks like we've got a Nexus crystal that we can open as well for a 4-star. Let's see. We do have, well, we've got one, so it's not really going to be worth opening that. But let's at least pop open the Nexus crystal, just because those are always kind of fun to see what comes out of it. Where did it go? Here it is. Let's go ahead and get that going through our spinner there, or just kind of open it up. And it looks like we can either get a max signature ability crystal for Thor or Ant-Man, but I'm going to select Captain America since they're all dupes, but this will allow me to increase his signature level. I only need to receive him one more time to have that maxed out, so not a whole lot of complaints there either. Let's pop back over here and get our 5 6-star hero crystals out of their shard form and spin them around to see who we end up getting out of these. And first crystal in the spinner, I know, or at least I'm fairly confident that I have a champion in my 6-star crystals. I wouldn't mind a duplication on him. Guillotine 2099 is going around in there as well. That character would be very, very powerful. And the Electro wouldn't be terrible either. Looks like we're getting a new character with Crossbones. Crossbones is an interesting character. He doesn't have any crits, so you can avoid some of those spiked armors that pop up in some quests. I haven't seen them as common in some of the later game content, so that's kind of a moot point there. Let's see if we can get an awakening on our Emma Frost, or potentially on another character we have now. I don't have Angela as a 6-star. I was kind of wishing that that would have kept rolling over to Korg, because I know I have a 6-star Korg, and having him awakened would certainly make him a lot more annoying to fight against. Let's see who else comes through here. Again, I would really love to see a Wasp out of this rarity as well. She's not incredibly powerful, but I would love to have her on my team for some more synergy applications in using my Ghost in some things here, and that's a Joe Fixit. Not particularly happy to see him coming around here. He's a fairly weak character, though I guess in a 6-star format he would have some additional utility. So we'll just kind of have to see if he proves himself useful at all if I end up maxing him out at his 1-star rank here. Crystal number 4 is going to be Iron Fist. That's a new character as well, and nothing particularly exciting about that guy. He doesn't have a whole lot of interesting utility here, and we are going to go ahead and let this one spin out as well, just kind of see where we end up. Now, Airwalker's going through there. I wouldn't mind Airwalker. He's got a Synodic Tide type thing that proves to be a little bit of an odd mechanic. So if that were to be the character that we get, I wouldn't be horribly disappointed, but there's certainly a lot of other characters going through this reel that I would like to see a lot more. Again, Colossus can hit very hard, and so having him in a 6-star variant would be kind of a fun thing to see as well. Let's see if we have anyone coming through here that's worth talking about, and we're going to get another 6-star Silver Centurion, or another Silver Centurion, this time in a 6-star variant. So kind of some usefulness there in terms of having a newer character. All new characters out of this, which is kind of expected because I don't have a lot of 6-star characters in general, so this will kind of help with some of the arena bolstering at the very least. And that's going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe for that daily variety content. And I hope to see you in the next video, everyone. Take care and have a fantastic rest of your day.